This grand old town of Paarl was founded back in 1657, and for the past 160 years a school by the name of Paarl Gymnasium has called it home, and have they not done their hometown proud. And this afternoon they welcome Paarl Roos Gymnasium, the young lads from Stellenbosch, the Maroon Machine, in the fourth stop of the Premier Interschool Series for 2018. We are about to witness two of the finest rugby playing schools in the land, historically speaking and based on current form as well, as both of these sides come into this match with unbeaten records, Paarl Roos having won all 8 of the matches so far and Paarl Gym having conquered 9 teams along the way. Paarl Roos are in fine fettle. Their average score, and I repeat average, is 70 points to 10 this season. They are scoring tries for fun. As you can see, the weather has played the game. The sun is shining brightly. We have had some rain in the past few days in the Western Cape, and what a blessing that has been considering the drought situations under which we have been suffering here. But looking upon the resplendent hills of Paarl and the wonderful properties and architecture that you'll find in this town, we prepare for a match of colossal consequence. Coming into this day, there were 5 unbeaten schools in the land, and we are about to witness 2 of them in action. One will fall this afternoon. As you can see, this is Paarl Gymnasium that we are looking at. They have delivered us some Springboks to remember, the most recent being Andre Pollard and Louis Schroeder. But let's remember, of course, the Vet Barry, Marius Hubert, Jean de Villiers and Skalk Berger, who performed recently for the Green and Gold. Products of Paarl Gym, they have produced numerous books down the years, as have Paarl Roos, of course, who have produced the most Springboks in the history of the land of any school. That number stands at 52, the most recent being Stephen Kitsoff. And watch out, of course, for Damien Willemse, who is very likely to be donning our nation's highest honor very soon. And now we are taking a look through the starting lineup of Paarl Roos. Watch out for a number of these players. JJ Kotze is the very nucleus of this Paarl Roos side. He gets them all the go-forward ball as their number 2. He is captain as well. He is in the elite player development squad this year as he was last year. And in the back line they have Cade Voliter, a man who was at Grant Como just last year. That is the under-16 equivalent of the Craven Week. He has converted 54 tries already this season. And now we are taking a look at the Paarl Gym lineup. They have a couple of representatives that featured in the Grant Como last year, Delaray Nell and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And the main man is their number 12 and captain, who also featured at the Craven Week. Very difficult side to make, the Western Province side. And that is David Kellerman in the number 12 jersey. And he is also in the elite player development squad. And their number 14, Frans Moret, is back for his second stint in the first 15 of Paarl Gym. Alongside me in the commentary booth, I have a man who knows what the gentle contours of the William Webb Ellis Trophy feel like. His name is Butch James. How do you do, Butch?
Yeah, afternoon, Paul, and just really looking forward to this encounter this afternoon as Paarl Roos make their way onto the field. And let's not forget, just down the road, another school, Paarl Boys High, are taking on Grey College. So 2 brilliant games this afternoon. Well, probably the top 4 teams in South Africa all here in one town this afternoon. That is your captain, JJ Kutsa. As the home team, Paarl Gymnasium, make their way through a brilliant tunnel made by their school onto the field as that tunnel scatters off into their stands.
What a sight that is. This is schoolboy rugby passion. Learners getting back to their positions to make sure that they have a good view of this match. And what a rivalry it is. Not many kilometers separate these 2 teams, and there are of course 2 of the 4 teams that make up the Rugby Fabriek, which translates to the Rugby Factory, the schools from the Winelands and the Boerland that are traditionally the most powerful in the nation. And if you're the best in South Africa, you're often the best in the world. Here are match officials for today. You see Walid Murat, the second assistant. That is the cousin of Salman Murat.
Yeah, and hasn't he been doing so well at the moment? Busy with the South African under-20 team.
I think they just beat Scotland.
Yeah, that's correct. So unavailable for selection for the Stormers. They'll surely miss him coming off the bench.
Hot property right now, Mr. Murat, and good luck to all of the baby Boks up there. We hope that you can do us proud, and you already have. Let's hope that long may it last. The joy on the faces of the youngsters here is plain to see, and we are about to get underway in one of the biggest games of this entire rugby season all around the country. This is Paarl Gym hosting Paarl Roos.
Ready? Captain. Keep them behind you, please.
Ball in hand, that is Charles Janssen. Janssen gets us underway. High hanging kick, great pressure coming from Paarl Gym, specifically in the form of Stravino Jacobs, an Academy Week representative for Paarl Gym, but well controlled by Paul
Step,
Roos.
all of you, step.
And we are underway.
Back there.
Running the ball right from the get-go, but that pass has been deemed forward to Mr. Haynes, and it will be a scrum down to Paarl Gym, dead center on the 22-meter line.
Yeah, really good start by Paarl Gymnasium, brilliant kickoff, and equally good chase by Jacobs. He did miss the tackle, but the amount of pressure he put on Paul Roos led to his team putting enough pressure on to force that forward pass. And now in a really, really good attacking position. Midfield, centre field in the 22. Good options for scrum off there, both sides. Nice big blind.
Alexander feeds. Looking to the left to his fly off Janssen. Janssen takes it to the line and gets it off to Jacobs. Good tackle on Jacobs, an aggressive run. That tackle made by Brendan Fenter. The Paarl Roos continue on the attack. Juan Bierkus, another Academy Week representative, as Alexander clears it from the base. Good positive start from Paarl Gym. Spreading it once again is Janssen. And that is David Kellerman, captain of Paarl Gym, taking it into contact. Alexander to the blind. Strong run from Siebert. Paarl Gym continues standing over it is Becker. Good strong running right close to the ruck. Paarl Gym are making sure of their carries right now. That's Verlieren. Had to evade the tackle and take Paarl Gym to within 5 meters. Janssen spreads it again. And Kellerman unable to get his momentum going, and it is significant once it does get going. 8 tries already this year for Kellerman. Aggressive stuff from Delaray now. Good tempo early on from Paarl Gym. Jacobs runs directly over his man. Mere meters from the line now.
High tackle advantage.
Advantage being played to Paarl Gym. 11 phases already completed. The focus of these young lads has been exemplary thus far. Alexander struggling to clear. We have a penalty to Paarl Gym.
13, high tackle. Keep it down, please.
Yeah, big decision now. I'm sure they will go into touch. Pretty tough kick at Paarl's if they did go for that option. But good pressure from Paarl Gymnasium.
Line is the center.
And equally good defense, must be said, from Paarl Roos. Just a high tackle giving away that penalty. It's Brendan Fenter that's featured in quite a number of the tackles for Paarl Roos. The Paarl Roos centre.
And he does have a famous father of the same name.
Time back on.
Pretty lucky it's Regan van der Westhuizen and he gets pinned there.
Delaray now. Nell feeds the line out off the fingertips. Back under control.
In front.
See the joy on the Paarl Roos lads there. You can see how much this match means to them. Just a turnover in the 3rd minute inspires shouting and joy. Plenty of meaning in this fixture. That kick has not gone into touch, and it's Jacobs running it back at them. Such a great balanced running style Jacob has. Alexander clears from the base, right to the back line. Aggressive stuff from Paarl Gym, all the way to the outside, into the hands of their outside centre, Dutoy. Still in the field of play, Alexander clears. What a start from Paarl Gym. Nievoet with the carry this time. Paarl Roos been caught on their heels here. Good support from Becker on that run. Inside ball, almost finds Bierkus cutting. And you can hear the crowd responding to each salvo that Paarl Gym launched, but it has been turned over, remarkably so. Some more spectacular defense from Paarl Roos, couldn't get a number on him. And Paarl Roos have no intention of kicking the ball straight away. They can run it right back at Paarl Gym. They're scoring tries for fun this season. Hands on the ball, turnover ball! Paarl Gym right in front of the home fans.
Yeah, it was 2 brilliant turnovers. The first one was from Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Well, sorry, it was actually from Ming Scharnik for Paarl Roos. And I'm not too sure who it was for Paarl Gymnasium to win that ball back. Paarl Roos running it from everywhere. It's the second time now.
Present numbers,
Here's the
please.
first turnover
5.
from Sharink. Brilliant turnover from him. There we go, hands on, well done.
To the back, Paarl Gym go, well taken by Mark Etzebeth, and they are rolling forward with this maul. Can they keep the momentum to the left? No, they shift to the right, and it collapses right in front of Delaray Nell. He has a second go. Over the line, try time, Paarl Gym.
Yeah, and the home fans go crazy, as well as the home school. That was scored right in front of their home supporters. Brilliant drive from Paarl Gym. I think it is Delaray Null who ends up getting this. Yeah, that's him, Delaray Null. Credit got to go to his pack though. Great work from them. And what a start from Paarl Gym. Putting all the pressure on Paarl Roos. Haven't really been out of their 22 yet.
He's been all Paarl Gym up to this point, and lining up the conversion is Charles Janssen, so important to this side. Really runs the show with his boot and has seen them to victories over the difficult opponents such as Monument and Affys already this season. Very measured approach from Charles Janssen has produced the goods. 7 points to 0, Paarl Gym lead.
Yeah, brilliant open kick that from Janssen. Started the game off nicely with his drop-off. That is the conversion of this try from Delaray Null. Brilliant work from the Paarl Gym forwards. Needed to give it another go to get it over, but over it went.
Cade Volita, such an impressive young man, gets us restarted. As Paarl Roos kick off deep into the Paarl Gym half. They try to spread the ball and eventually turn to the boot. Volita is underneath that one. Gives it to his fly off Mostert. Mostert, very elusive runner with ball in hand. Almost cutting through the line immediately, Paarl Roos. This is their first real opportunity with possession. Good charge into contact from the big man, Henry Jacobs. And that is JJ Kotza, the man who carries so much ball for Paarl Roos. Look at the power of the man already in that carry as Haynes comes on the short angle. Not afraid to cut a line as Herman Haynes. Good pressure from Paarl Gym at that breakdown. Desperately looking for another gap. That was Zander Buerta. Buerta clears from the base. Mink Sharink, a man who sometimes wears the 3 on his back. Such a versatile young man, cuts through, cannot find support. Scrum down, Paarl Gym.
Yeah, that's better from Paarl Roos. Good attack from them. Haven't really had the opportunity. They've been trying to run it out of their 22. That time up to halfway line.
Don't play the ball there on the ground, okay?
Some good opportunities, some good handling as well. There was a lovely offload earlier on from Mostert. That time the offload just not going to hand. A bit lucky was Sharink playing the ball on the ground. A little bit of advantage there. It may have been a penalty.
It appears we have a number 19 on the field for Paarl Roos.
Bind. Sit.
I did think he looked a little bit big for a number 9. It was Johan Bouwers, who was in the number 19 jersey. Cleared from the base by Alexander for Paarl Gym. And as mentioned before, that is Charles Janssen trying to use his boot to run the game for Paarl Gym, but that has gone directly into touch, and the pressure has been turned straight back on the men from Paarl.
Yeah, such a pity. It was a brilliant kick from Janssen. Just a few centimeters too much. Just sneaking out. Otherwise, it would have been an unbelievable kick from him. Those are the short little measures that can change a game in this tight situation.
Backwards, play on.
What an incredible piece of hands from Zander Buerta after an untidy line-out from Paarl Roos, wasting no time in upping the tempo of this match. Around the corner again, is he not a large man, Henry Jacobs? Mink Sharink That's another prop playing in the second row. Such a powerful scrum Paarl Roos has. That is another good run from Henry Jacobs.
You're not on the ball.
Paarl Roos now bearing down on the try line of Paarl Jim, but driven back in the tackle. Turnover ball. Preben Verleerden dives on it for Paarl Jim. Not kicking straight away, buying some time are the Gummies. Alexander.
But it's over.
Advantage called over, and the charge down falls fortuitously for Paarl Jim, who continue to be under pressure right on their own try line.
Get back there, get back there, get back there.
Some aggressive counter-racking has caused some problems for Paarl Jim at the base of this, but eventually shoving the man back. And they will run it again from underneath their own posts. Eventually, an improvised kick does not relieve the pressure, and this is Remy Engelbrecht. He's a try-scoring machine, Mr. Engelbrecht, but he's had that ball rubbed from him seemingly on the ground. And Jacobs is the man with ball in hand for Paarl Jim. What a counter-rack! Look at the aggression in just a small period of play. Breaking blind. That is Regan van der Westhuizen. Powerful outside center for Paarl Roos. Botha clears. The ball evades the first man from Henry Jacobs. And it is advantage to Paarl Jim. Scrum down to them.
Yeah, such a pity for Paarl Roos. That ball had gone to hand. There was a huge possibility of a try. Good work from their prop, Unruh Jacobs. Just unable to go to hand. Good turnover as well from Paarl Roos. Good counter-attack. Counter-ruck, sorry, should I say. And you can see how tight this game is and how much pressure's on these players. You can just see the intensity and the small little errors that they are making. I'm sure those will calm down as the game goes on. But in these big games, you've got to keep a cool head and make sure that you do all the basics really, really well.
Sit!
Alexander feeds. As you can see, the Paarl Jim scrum suffering somewhat, but you can only drive 1.5 meters at schoolboy rugby level. That is Charles Janssen. Once again, using his boot to dictate play. Slight fumble from Tiaan Pretorius. He collects himself and decides to run straight into the Paarl Jim defenders. Good clear out from Paarl Roos. Or is it, have they secured clean ball here? Really having to fight for it, tooth and nail. Seems that it may have been turned over, no call from the referee. But Paarl Roos pile in again and get it back. Zander Botha clears. Yet another powerful run from Henry Jacobs.
You didn't survive the clean out.
Some of the players calling for holding. Paarl Roos having some extreme trouble clearing the ruck situations right now, but they keep it tight to the forwards for now. Still trailing by just the 7 points. After that opening try from Paarl Jim, as Mostert decides to play for territory. And that is into the hands of Tiaan Swanepoel. Swanepoel tries to shed Remy Engelbrecht, but that defense is aggressive, and it has not finished on the field of play.
Yeah, you can expect that sort of aggression in this encounter. And a kick is only as good as its chase, and what a chase that was from Remy Engelbrecht. Trying to get the handoff going, but wasn't able to get rid of Engelbrecht. Great stuff from the youngster.
And this game's pace does not take a breath. That is Mostert, the number 10 for Paarl Roos, running at Paarl Jim. Blind they go through the hands of Brendan Venter, looking for spaces on the outside as Kate Volita.
Get out of the ball, let it go.
Over the ball now, Paarl Roos. That pass has evaded many. But still the support from Paarl Roos off the shoulder every time. Henry Jacobs places back in the faith that his men will arrive in time. Mink Sherink gives it off to Remy Engelbrecht. He ensures some extra meters for Paarl Roos. That is great defense. Recognized the problem there. Jacobs came off his wing and tackled the big man to stop the momentum. And Paarl Roos continue onwards.
No, let it go. Not the second time.
The referee made everything very clear there, Mr. Nathan Schwartz.
Yeah, it's Dean Nieuwoud. Just missed the ball the first time and went for it the second time. By that time it was a ruck. So then no hands in there.
Ek kan jou nie reward
It's always hard though as a player when that ball's just standing there staring at you on the plate. There it was. Just went for it for the second time. And I'm sure Paarl Roos will just pop this over right in front of the poles.
As a flank, you'd be angry if you didn't go for that one, Bush.
Yeah, and I think as a coach, if you saw your flank not hungry to try get that ball, you would also be angry with him.
At times when the grey area of the laws come in, that ball was bouncing around, the wreck was almost finished. You can understand it, perhaps.
Yeah, and the ref also, as he was going for it, the ref was trying to talk to him, so he couldn't have listened to the ref because he was probably a little bit too late.
You can see we're making a lot of excuses for the young man.
Yeah.
This is Kate Boliter.
Yeah, pretty easy kick for Cade Volhoter. And that takes the score to 7-3. And just got one of those feelings that those 3 pointers are going to count come the end of the game. It's going to be really tight. Saw the second 15. Paarl Roos just winning that game with a minute to go, scoring a try to take the game. So I'm sure this will be no different.
Getting us back underway once more is Charles Janssen. Is that straight into touch? It is.
Option. Scrum.
And Paarl Roos have taken the scrum option, I believe.
Yeah, we saw him kicking a ball out directly earlier on from the scrum, out of hand. And this time from the restart, just a little bit too much. Maybe that adrenaline's pumping a bit too much at the moment through Janssen's veins.
It's a very measured player is Janssen. He's a very astute boot. It is very much the reason why Paarl Jim have been so successful this season. Look at that possession, 67% for Paarl Roos so far.
Crouch. Bind. Sit.
However, Paarl Jim did make use of their possession early in the match. They got out of the blocks really quickly.
Backwards, backwards,
that
backwards.
Fumbled through the legs by Johan Bouwers. Paarl Roos managed to tidy things up. Rolling over one too many times. Penalty goes the way of Paarl Jim.
Yeah, mistake compounded by another mistake. I think it is actually Matthew Cord who's just playing in a number 19 jersey. It's pretty confusing up here. But just the mistake from the back of that scrum by Cordy, just not able to get that ball away to Botha. And after that being tackled, there was a set-piece move going down the blind. And just one too many rolls adjudicated by our referee, Nathan Schwartz.
5. Get back 10. Get back 10.
Long throw over the back from Paarl Jim. Clearly a planned move, and running onto it is their talisman, the power runner who's lost control, David Kellerman. Oh, Captain Courageous almost dragging his team over the line. Brought down just short and the ball dragged out of his hands, kicked into touch by Paarl Roos.
Yeah, and I like that move from the line out, right over the back to, I think it was their captain, Kellerman. Great carry from him initially, just unfortunately having that ball ripped out of his hands. But still on attack of Paarl Jim.
There's 2 receivers. Get back 9.
Now, who's already showed how accurate he can be. Variety of throws in this match so far. It's a good attacking opportunity for Paarl Jim. Setting a ruck in the center field. Options to the right, quick hands, looking to work the numbers. Into the line is their fullback Swanepoel.
Same thing. You are tackled.
You can hear the ref explaining it's exactly the same call from earlier on. Penalty, Paarl Roos.
Yeah, that time Tiaan Swanepoel was beautiful hands from Paarl Jim backline. Getting it all the way to Swanepoel, who found a little gap down the side of the field. But once he was tackled, he tried to get back up onto his feet, didn't release the ball in doing so.
Light is the mark.
And all picked up by Schwartz.
Numbers 4 in.
So he just needed to let the ball go there, leave it on the ground, and pick it up again once he was standing. All happened so fast, though. Well picked up.
2 knocks here.
It's going to be a scrum down to Paarl Jim. As you can see, very unfortunate. We have Hendry Siebert receiving some medical attention. He does not look to be in a good way.
Time off.
And We're going to stop the match to make sure that Mr. Siebert is well enough to make his way from the pitch, should that be required. Doesn't look like he'll be getting back, does it, Butch?
No, it looks like he's done himself a mischief to his knee.
Oh, so good a time as any to mention how dominant Paarl Gym have
Time
been
is
in
off,
recent
yeah, you
years.
can.
in
Time
this
is off.
matchup between these two sides. Let's take a look at some replays though first, Butch.
This is Siebert. Now just looking at it from that angle. Yeah, I think it might have been one of his own guys just landing on top of that knee. So a little twist there, surely a bit of ligament damage, which is never a good one. So all the best to Siebert.
It would appear we have the number 19 for Paarl Gym, Pirach Siebert, coming on to replace Henry Siebert. And we have it on good information that they are brothers, Bush.
Oh, it's just made our job a lot easier. Yeah, it's a good opportunity now for Paarl Gym to clear their lines. We've seen the left boot already of Stefan de Tooy. So will they go to that left boot again?
Alexander feeds Paarl Gym inside of their own half, and they seem intent on running right from the get-go. Through the hands of Janssen to Jacobs, and on the outside, charging once again is Swanepoel. Full of running to Jan Swanepoel. An aggressive ruck, well controlled by Paarl Gym, cleared by Alexander and into contact, Juan Bierkes. What a physical game Paarl Gym do play. And again, running at men with support behind, setting a ruck, and Paarl Gym spreading to the right once more through Swanepoel. Sorry, through Janssen, eventually tackled on the outside. Alexander digs. More supporting players behind the runner to ensure that they are there to clear the ruck. That pass was from Verleeren. And the turnover is good from Paul Roos. They do not have numbers on the blind, so Regan van der Westhuizen has to muscle up to the contact. Zanderboorta. To the left they go. Good defensive pressure from Paarl Gym. Their line is up so quickly, but there may be gaps on the outside that they are leaving. Zanderboorta to the right this time, and Mostert is behind his players. As such, the kick was the most likely result. Jacobs fields it before it goes out and backs himself against 2-3 Paul Roos players. Ripped in the contact. Mostert tried to dive on that, but Alexander comes away for Paarl Gym, and he has been finished off in the tackle. So much aggression on display here today. Great pass, but more great Paul Roos defense. Ripped in the tackle once again. How many times has it happened today? Brendan Fenter muscles up to the contact. Just outside the 22-meter line of Paarl Gym. Paul Roos tried to up the tempo. Concentration lacking, small knock on, and you can hear both sets of fans starting to get into this match.
Yeah, isn't it awesome to see? Both fans really having a go and almost urging the ref to blow a few calls. It's been great defense from Paul Roos. I think one of their tactics is that one guy goes low and the other attacks the ball. We've seen a few of the balls being ripped out of the Paarl Gym players' hands. So again, back to where we started a couple of minutes ago, where Paarl Gym had a go and ran it. Will they do the same?
So that time they brought Francois Marais off his wing. This time they go straight to Charles Janssen. Employs his boot once more. Great chase from Jacobs. The bounce does not favor him. Remy Engelbrecht is able to collect. And that ball has been stolen by Jacobs. Quick thinking. How fast were his hands to pick that up in the midst of the contact and give Paarl Gym yet more possession in this first half. Paul Roos had been dominating the possession stakes, but Paarl Gym are coming right back into it, and now there's space on the outside. Mark Etzebeth on the run. What a fearsome runner he is. Alexander to Verleeren. Dominated in the hit by Paul Roos. Back to the open side come Paarl Gym. Absolutely reveling in the possession that they have right now. Paul Roos are spending the majority of this half in their own half and closer to their own 22-meter line, to be honest. And an advantage being played to Paarl Gym.
Yeah, much better attack from Paarl Gym. A lot more intensity at the breakdown, not allowing Paul Roos to get their hands on the ball. And in that resulting in a lot quicker ball. So good play from them, and a good, nice little tactical kick from Scholl Janssen from that scrum. Good chase again from Jacobs. They didn't make the tackle, forced the turnover. And now Paarl Gym with the opportunity through Janssen to get another 3 points.
And this would appear to be the right thing to do, Butch, considering what you said about 3 points counting.
Yeah, this is going to come down to the wire this game, so every point needs to be taken.
I think some of the most impressive features on display here today have been the defense of both sides. It really has been phenomenal.
Yeah, it has been outstanding.
Lifts the flags once more and puts 7 points between the two sides. 10 points to 3, Paarl Gym lead.
Yeah, I was watching Janssen. As soon as he struck that ball, he was down to pick up the tee. He knew it was over. It's been great to see the enthusiasm on defense, but it's also been good on attack to see that the players aren't scared to make the mistakes and to have a go. They know that this is a tight game, but that hasn't stopped them from running the ball and trying a few things.
It would be hard for either of these teams to turn their back on their running ways. So many tries they've scored already this season, especially so Paarl Roos, who have been free-flowing, but certainly have been stopped in their tracks by Paarl Gym. This is the largest test that they've come up against this year. And as you can see, Paarl Gym advancing past the gain line with every carry. That time it was Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Another tactical kick downfield, and Mostert is forced to weigh up his options. He evades 3. He's running straight down the field. Can he find support? Could not look to the outside or in and find a man close enough. He does very well, does Mostert, to set up a ruck on the 22-meter line. To the blind side they go, but good defensive pressure from Jacobs stops Regan van der Westhuizen from finding a pass to the outside. Offsides against Paarl Gym this time. A penalty dead center in the field to Paarl Roos.
Yeah, he hasn't had too much ball, has Johan Mostert. But the ball he has had, he's looked really dangerous, especially when he keeps it himself and has a go. Slices through the defense pretty easily. And it was just down to some good defense from Jacobs that stopped that Paarl Roos move in its tracks.
This is Kay de Volhiter. Already has 148 points this season. And that is just after 8 matches. 54 conversions already. Volhiter obliges. The Paarl Roos boys are happy. The score is 10 points to 6.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes till half-time. So both teams a vital few minutes now going into the break.
Janssen's trusty boot gets us back underway. Well fielded and charging forward is Matthew Cordy. He's a good, powerful runner as well, Cordy. Porter. Venter throws out the dummy for Haynes. Paarl Roos exploring if they have the capacity to run the ball from inside their own 22-meter line, and they do get a penalty for hands in the rack.
Yeah, it was good pressure from the Paarl Gymnasium boys. Just giving away the penalty, which is going to allow Paarl Roos to clear the lines quite easily.
Has to be a difficult change of pace, Butch, coming from, well, that kick has gone horribly wrong. Straight down the center of the pitch, and that is Tian Swanepoel with the response. He finds a good touch beyond the halfway line. Not ideal from Juan Mostert. He's far better than that, the number 10 for the men in maroon.
Yeah, it really was a poor strike from Mostert. Didn't catch it at all.
This is Kotza. Easy ball to the front of the line-out for Haynes. Gets involved in so many different areas of the game. Brendan Fenter playing in the pivot position once more, and again an advantage is coming the way of the young boys from Stellenbosch, possibly for a high tackle. It is for a high tackle. Botha breaks to the open side, and Haynes is the receiver. Every time that Paarl Roos try to up the tempo, Paarl Gym contest on the ground at the ruck and slow their ball down, but Brendan Fenter now cuts through. Could not find support. Botha. Short they go, and that's Robbie Rogers. He was at the Grand Como week last year as well. Paarl Roos retaining possession in the center of the field, approaching the 22-meter line of Paarl Gym. JJ Kotza, captain and talisman for Paarl Roos. Having to muscle up is Cordy. In comes Botha and finds Kotza, carrying again, inching the way towards the 22-meter line. Botha to the blind. Remy Engelbrecht tries to get his footwork going. It's JJ Kotza once more. As you can see, he constantly injects himself right into the heart of the action. And from the joyous cries of the Paarl Gym crowd, you can hear that call went the way of the men from Paarl, the boys from Paarl.
Yeah, it was good attack from Paarl Roos. They had a penalty advantage, but kept on playing. Got all the way up to the 22 until that penalty was given. So great defense from Paarl Gymnasium. And now straight on to attack for them.
Delaray now. So far, the lineouts have been excellent, but that one does not follow suit, and it's Haynes in the number 7 jersey for Paarl Roos, rising at the front to disrupt. Zander Botha has himself been disrupted by a brilliant counter-rack, perfectly timed. Paarl Roos forced to clean up once more. Paarl Gym have forced them into scrappy play all half long, and with just 3 minutes left to play in this half, they find themselves trailing by 4 points, get to threaten to score a try. To the open side, and cutting straight through the line, that's Mikado Duprier. Zander Botha once again digging for the ball, and once again caught holding it on the ground of Paarl Roos. Paarl Gym have all the initiative in this first half.
Yeah, and how about that from Bobby Alexander? The smallest man on the field, and he's in there stealing the ball from those big forwards. He had a few of them that tried to clean him out, but he stood strong and earned his team a good penalty, which I'm sure they will be having a go, and they are at Paarl's. The way Janssen is striking them this afternoon. There's not too much breeze here this afternoon, but whatever we do have is with them at the moment, at his back. So shouldn't have any problem with the distance.
Very good kicker he is. Difficult change of pace it must be for both of these teams to come from such high scoring habits to a tight game like this. But in Charles Janssen, Paarl Gym certainly have a number 10 with some great measure and control. Janssen launches it. This might be falling short. But no, it has gone wide. Might just have had the legs. Good effort from Janssen.
Yeah, just pushed it to the right. It was a good strike from him. Just slowing things up is Volhuter.
I believe the chant from the Paarl Gym fans was Hees Gerettel.
Any mental game you can play.
Kate Voliter. The man who played Grand Como last year and is as such a youngster in the side. His 22-meter dropout goes directly into touch. One last chance for Paarl Gym to apply pressure.
We might get the same chant from Paarl Gym now. Yeah, and a great opportunity now for Paarl Roos just to extend their lead. A try now will do them huge favours going into the break.
Right now. Lineout is back on track as Jean-Jacques Rousseau drags it down for the Khummies. Now set them all. They cannot get it moving forward at all, and Alexander is forced to clear. Pass leaves a lot to be desired, and Kellerman, the captain, is forced to work hard to make sure he sets a ruck that his players can get to. Paarl Gym immediately back onto the front foot. Some good quick ball off that carry. Enough support to clear the ruck. They've been very diligent with that throughout the first half. Jacobs, they saw him coming, and he was punished by a combination of Regan, Van der Westhuizen and Friend. Paarl Gym back on the attack, and Jean Bierkus. They saw him coming. Great defensive pressure from Paul Roos, shooting out of the line, but very well managed by replacement for Paarl Gym. Birich Siebert, who came on for his brother, suffered an injury earlier on in this half. Good driving play from Paarl Gym up to the 22-meter line. Now quick ball from Alexander to the blind. Janssen cannot find supporting players. And Mink Sharink, the intimidating figure of him, is there to make the tackle. Good low tackle on Dean Nieuwoud. Paarl Gym, who had been building the face as well, 10 of them, eventually suffer a turnover, and although time has elapsed, that ball is bounced in field. Good chase by Remy Engelbrecht, but Jacobs, who continues having a brilliant first half, evades 3 or 4 defenders, and they're back to the 22-meter line. Paarl Gym with the initiative once more. Wide they go, Delaray no. That pass has not found hands, but now it has. It's Janssen, Kellerman, running into men again, but Pretorius is there to make the tackle. Could not bring him to ground straight away, and Paarl Gym will get some easy quick ball. That is a good run from Jean Bierkus again. And again, charging into the contact is Siebert. Inching closer to the line. Delaray now again this time. Alexander. Blind they go. Paul Roos continue to make their tackles, but cannot get over this ball and turn it over again. 6 phases down now. Deep into stoppage time, 35 minutes per half in schoolboy rugby, of course. Alexander, Paarl Gym, can they finish this half with a flourish? They continue to advance. Alexander goes himself this time. Well presented. From the base, they pick Delaray Nell. Once again, they'll go with Becker, Jovan Becker. Closer and closer to the line they come. But have Paul Roos gotten over the ball here at the most crucial of times? Yes, they have. It's coming back to Zander Botha. The desperation of Paul Roos. Are they going to run this? Is this Tian Pretorius down the touchline? No space to work in. And right in front of the Paarl Gym fans, he is tossed into touch. And that will be half-time. And what a half of rugby it has been. Paarl Gym hosting Paul Roos. There have been just the one try in this match thus far, but high entertainment has been delivered. Great defense. 10 points to 6, Paarl Gym lead.